It's the Friendly Fire Show, episode 134 for the 20th of March. I'm Steve from Stevivor.
I'm Ben from Stevivor.
And that's all we are. I'm not going to talk about that other dude who's never here because I notice I've done that a bunch. And someone's also written in and said I say like a lot. So I'm going to try to not say like a lot, Ben.
All right, that's your last one. Last like.
No guarantees. Well, unless I enjoy something, I might just slip it in. You know, like how the actual word is supposed to be used rather than...
What about slap that like button?
Oh, we don't have a like button to slap. But that, I guess technically I've just said it again. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to just be more articulate, I think, when I speak, which would be good.
Speaking of things that you like, the Division 2 is quite a good game.
Oh, are you on the side of like now? Because I wasn't sure if you actually had come to that conclusion or not.
Well, I'm on the fence. I do like it, but it's early days. I feel like there's a lot of things that could be improved. A lot of the matchmaking isn't great for a co-op only game, but the foundation is strong. I think what's there is good. I feel like I'm making progress, but I can't play for like 4 hours a night. I need to play for 1 hour bursts. Just do like 1 or 2 side missions and a main mission, and then I've kind of had enough of shooting the same guys in the face, the same bullet sponges.
See, I could play for hours on end, but I've not been able to as much because there's been some really weird bugs involving like the scaling thing that we can talk about because it kind of affects you and I very specifically. But there was this weird bug that's popped up in the last couple days where if you used your abilities, they'd kind of like work and then they would randomly just disappear and be on cooldown for like the normal 20 minutes or 20 seconds or however long it takes. So where I was doing okay lone wolfing it, I suddenly couldn't because I just didn't have a turret that I could place, or I didn't have a drone that I could just shoot out that would cover my back. And I needed to play a lot because I needed to kind of get this review in progress like sorted. But you weren't able to play, and I was trying to play with Tano a bit, and I just got like very leveled up compared to you guys, and that's when we encountered the scaling thing, which gives the lower leveled player appropriate weaponry, and it looks like everything's kind of working at like a level equivalent to the host player, or I guess the highest level player doesn't have to be the host. The actual issue is it doesn't upscale your armor. So you might be able to damage enemies, but as soon as they hit you once or twice, you're basically just crumbling because your armor's gone, your health disappears, and it's kind of causing us a lot of grief in terms of you and I playing
we can't play
together for a while.
Because
yeah, we really can't.
13, and what are you at the moment?
23 or 24.
So well apart, because I saw a lot of people on Reddit saying that once you get to kind of 5 or more apart, it's when it's really messed up. So below that you can kind of manage, but anything bigger than that and you're no chance of playing together at the moment, which is a shame because this is a co-op only game. I find the matchmaking works relatively well. So basically I've been lone wolfing solo, like side missions, and then matchmaking for the longer main missions, and it mostly works. It puts you together with players who I think are actually that level or close to it rather than
trying to
scaling it. Of course, it's people who have wanted to matchmake for that. So if someone way below or way above the level tried to matchmake, I guess that would be put in too. But it works, except for one today. I was at the mission where I wanted to be, and then I got taken back to the White House because I was put into someone else's game, and that was on the other side of the map. So I was like, guys, why are you matchmaking this mission on the other side? Like now we have to run all the way back. It's kind of annoying, but yeah, people seem to play with you, so the community side of it seems to be working very well.
Yeah, and like I said like again, damn it. I'm trying, person. I've been kind of just jumping into random people's requests for help because there's an achievement in it. So of course I haven't done that. Well, I haven't properly gotten the achievement. You get it for going to someone else's game when they're downed, and that's when they ask for help. And if they're asking for help at that point and you revive them, then you get an achievement. But I always just get paired with people, I guess probably like in your situation, they just want to pair up for a mission or something, or a stronghold, or a control point,
Yeah, because then I'm
which
out.
is
As soon as
fine.
I've done the mission, I drop the squad because I don't know these people.
But I'm kind of getting to that elitist point now where I've done most things and I've only got a couple things left to do. So I don't want to really join up on someone to do a control point that I've already unlocked. Like I'm just kind of being a bit of a jerk. I'm in the end game, like last stretch here, and while I'm sort of excited for it, I'm also not, because I've done the Assassin's Creed thing that I do with Ubisoft games, and that I won't leave a region until I've completely finished everything inside of it. So all of the control points, all of the side missions, all of the main missions, I'll do enough uh, of the like world event random pop-up question mark things that I get the project associated to that region completed, which means I get a bounty to go and kill like a boss guy, and then like that region, for all intents and purposes, is liberated. And I know what happens in the end game because Ubisoft made this huge deal about it. As soon as I get to level 30 and, finish all these end bosses and stuff, all of these regions go into the control of a new faction. So it's like, I'm doing all of this work and I know it's going to be for nothing in the end. And I
And yet
just
they've
really
still
hope,
got you.
well, I really hope that they are smart enough to have tied something into that kind of end game narrative that acknowledges that and appreciates how much work has been put into liberating all these areas, and then to lose it. Like, I want there to be some huge emotional investment and some payoff.
I think
And
there
I'm not
will
sure
be
it's going to happen.
I used to do the same in Assassin's Creed. I want to get everything before I move on. But then about 5 years ago, Ubisoft got crazy with their hoarding. There's just so much stuff on the screen. They can't declutter no matter what they do. And it just kind of hit a point where I thought, enough is enough. I can't be bothered going to every single icon because there's so much of it here. And that's carried over now to the Division. And I just skip past all this stuff, which kind of seems like just filler. And I want to do the side missions, I want to do the main missions, but I can't be bothered with all the control points. It's just, we've done a few together. It's fun enough, but what do you really get out of it? Like, I want to move forward.
You get loot, Ben. That's the entire
Yeah, I
point.
know. You know
Straight up
what?
loot.
I'm level 13 and my secondary gun is still level 5 because I haven't found anything I like better. Because that's another problem I have. You have so many guns and you go through them all and you deconstruct them all. And I still just like the one that I got like after 2 hours and I'm still using it. So that's not what they want. But I haven't found one that I like better. It's still working for me. So yeah.
So what are you rocking? I've got like a
No idea what it's
Masterworks.
called.
No, not a Masterwork. That's Anthem. I've got a marksman rifle, and I kind of bounce between an assault rifle and an LMG,
Yeah,
depending
so I've
on
got an
what's
LMG at
stronger.
the moment. That's my main weapon. And so that is like a level 12 or 13 with me. That one I update all the time. My secondary weapon, I have something that can do high damage. It has some range and isn't too slow. So it's not like a carbine, which only has like a 50 firing rate. It's got about 300. So
Nice.
I like that zone. It's only level 5, and I have not found another weapon that has similar like stats across the board. So I'm keeping it.
There you go. I'm happy that I found like a shotgun that goes into the handgun slot. So like your double tap
Oh,
for
yeah.
pray that you have a bullet left in the chamber if you need to like try to shoot someone really quickly because you've been pounced and you're about to die, kind of thing. And I liked using a shotgun as one of my main weapons, but it was just, you can't get close enough. It's definitely a cover-based shooter all of the time, so you can't really rush and use the shotgun
No, and
and
certainly
expect to
not as a
live.
lone wolf. I mean, as two, we did okay reviving each other. On your own, when there's no one to revive you, you've got to hang back and pretty much use your turret and whatever else you're using as your ability and almost wait for it to recharge. So there's sometimes when you go to do the objective and activate whatever you're doing, a switch or a computer or something, and if you've got like 40 seconds left on cooldown, if I'm playing by myself, I wait for that 40 seconds because I know more guys are coming and I need my turret and my drone. So I'm no
Oh,
chance without
definitely.
them. So it certainly changes how you play, and you're much more defensive. We're probably both too aggressive playing together. We died many times when we shouldn't. And then when you're
True.
playing with random people, there's some element of, I don't know if I can trust them to revive me. And I also don't want to look like an idiot. So you don't quite play as aggressively as when you play with your friends. You want to kind of not let down these people you don't know on Xbox Live or whatever you're playing on. And it's weird how you think like that.
Yeah. Well, and I like the way that Massive is designed different encounters. So if you are finding that you're holding back, especially on your own, quite a bit and just spamming turrets and drones and I use the marksman rifle quite a bit. That's when one mission will throw like 3 yellow barred, I think they're called outcasts, that have like they've rigged explosives to their person. So you have to like try to shoot them before they explode upon you, and you can't just hang back and slowly snipe one by one by one. You have to change how you play, and I really like that Massive is kind of designing counters that mean you have to change it up, so you can't just kind of use the same old reliable tactic. Maybe if you're in a group or something you probably could, but I appreciate that about this. It's not feeling stale. Like Anthem was awful, and that it just feels like the same thing over and over and over. And I get it probably sounds like it's almost like that to you a little bit. That's why you have to maybe play only a couple missions at a time or something. But Anthem to me is far more repetitive than the Division is.
Well, I mean, I think the mission structure is pretty repetitive, but the AI certainly isn't. So that's a massive improvement over the first one, and they said it would be. I don't agree that they're not bullet spongy. They said that was a fault with Division One, and they were going to make sure they didn't do that again to make enemies harder. They start off as bullet sponges. Like I think they could have improved that a little, but the AI generally, as you said, is great. Like tactically, they almost are possibly modeled on what real players would do. Like they come in, and sometimes enemies are way more aggressive than you'd think they are. Sometimes they hang back. There are support characters basically which go and act as medics, or they go and repair a turret, which is what a real player would do. They'd probably run back to revive their mate or fix their ability if you could. So this is the type of thing you don't really get in these type of games normally, where AI seem like they have strategies. I'm sure if we looked into it and someone played for 1,000 hours and dug deep, you could find out what triggers what. But at the moment, it kind of seems like they're planning on the go, which makes it much more interesting to play.
Oh, for sure. And like I've tried one hunter instance. So I went to an underground area near the Lincoln Memorial, and there's this laptop that you can turn on, and when you do, it kind of illuminates a map board in front of you, and it has like a little crescent moon with an X on it. So I was smart enough to realize I needed to go to that area at night. And when you do, there's like this kind of little shack with like just a light swinging from a rope. And I didn't know what to do. So I'll admit at this point, I Googled what to do at that point. If you shoot the light, a level 35 like yellow bar hunter appears. So he destroyed me.
Don't want
but
that.
I was watching like a video with like a team of 4 trying to fight the guy, and he's level 35. So he's, even if you're, level 30, you're horribly underpowered against this dude. But he seems very smart, and he's not just kind of executing the same script over and over or whatever else. It seems like he's actually like a player that you're trying to fight against.
Which is probably
Which
the
is
big
cool.
selling point of this game, really. They've made encounters interesting and different.
Yeah,
And the
and
world,
there's
of
12 of
course.
them.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
you get through one, and there's 11 more if you want to attempt it. And they seem really difficult, so I'm kind of keen to give it a go.
I don't want to attempt it. That sounds terrible. But I'm only a lowly level 13, so maybe one day.
Maybe one day. But
Have you been to Washington, D.C. before?
no, but I really want to. Like after Fallout 3 and now this, like I'm super keen on
Well,
Washington D.C.
even not having been there, you can kind of get the feel that this is based roughly one-to-one, and then put in a fictional setting, obviously, to have this kind of ruined world. But you can tell the care they put into making it. And I know we all complained that Division One was kind of like a concrete jungle, and so they've really rectified that. They've gone with all types of different environments, and as much as I don't want to look in every corner for a new backpack to see if it's got some metal in it or something, it is still kind of fun to look inside the buildings, and I think that's what I enjoy more. That these types of big open worlds, often they look great on the outside, but you can't go inside to a lot of the buildings. So the insides of some of the places look even better than outside sometimes. So it's been crafted really well. And then
Oh,
obviously set up for a lot of combat scenarios.
yeah. And it rewards exploration too. Like you go and find the giant pride flag, which is sort of near the White House, which I thought was hilarious. I know that Trump is not the president in this game, but I still just delighted that there's like a little gay hub right near him. And if you can just go there and kind of appreciate it and walk around and look around and stuff. But there is a door that you can kind of get into that takes you into this weird sort of back alley area. And it's like a little hub where survivors have set up. And if you get in there, then you unlock some new side missions and things like that. So you're kind of rewarded for exploration in resources, like you were saying, but also just with kind of like neat little Easter eggs and extra missions if you want to keep going through the experience. And this game will take 50, 60 hours, I reckon, to finish in a way
Probably.
that you're satisfied
If
anyway.
you're
There's probably
exploring a
tons of
lot,
stuff.
I think, I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to tell. I'm probably 10, 12 hours in, and I think I'm 40% through the main campaign or something like that. So, yeah, it'll be a slow burn, but it doesn't feel like I played for that long. It kind of, yeah, drags you along with it in a good way.
Nice. Anything else you want to say about the Division 2? I'm quite keen on it. I got to finish the end game stuff so I can finish up the review, but I'm thinking kind of like an 8 in my mind at this point.
Well, I mean, we're playing early on. There was the whole 3 days early if you're a rich kid and, you had to wait a little longer for a commoner. Um, but do you think it would be better to play now or to wait for like 3 or 4 months? They'll definitely iron out some of these bugs, like the scaling thing. There's a bunch of other glitches, like the ability one. I think fast travel doesn't work as well as it could. They will all be fixed in a few months, but you'll miss that first kind of period, which is always so important with these online games. So if you want to matchmake missions then, it's going to be much harder than it is now.
Yeah. I think compared to Anthem's just a train wreck, and the Division is a fully fleshed out title with a lot of thought that's been put into it. Like Anthem just seems like it's a patchwork quilt that they're kind of still trying to figure out. But the Division seems like it's there. There's some stuff that didn't quite work as expected, like the abilities, like the way that the scaling works. But I think it's still a proper completed game that you will enjoy and not feel frustrated with. Where, people were playing Anthem early and it was just an absolute mess. And I jumped in to play a little bit today and it's still it's a mess. There's not a lot to it.
The other side
Destiny
of that is
was kind of
if
the
you try to
same. Destiny 2 was the same. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you jump in late, as I did with Destiny, it's really hard to catch up to your friends because they're so far ahead, even with scaling, because they don't want to come back and help you on a low-level mission unless they're just being a good friend. There's not a lot in it game-wise for them. So if you were to come in 3 months in the future from now and your friends have already been playing, there's really little incentive for them to start another character unless they really want to do that. The flip side is if you can convince 3 of your friends to wait and all of you are going to play then, different story. That's not
Oh,
really
definitely.
realistic. Probably the best way to play this game is to get 3 friends and say, right, we're going to play every Monday and Wednesday night and every Sunday afternoon. And that's the only time we play. We don't play separately.
Don't cheat. Don't go ahead.
And don't miss a session. Now, if you can live a life like that and get that to work, fantastic. You'll have an amazing Division 2 experience. I think that's going to be a small crowd, though.
I think you're right. And the thing that Massive's done is they've really communicated what they're doing in terms of content and how they're laying it out. And it's not kind of a drip and drab thing. It's like steady content for a good long while. So I tried jumping back into Destiny 2 and they didn't have a lot of stuff going for it for a while. And now it's all about Gambit. And I logged in and I just kind of looked at the things it wanted me to do. And I went, I have no interest in this, and just like shut it down. So it'll be interesting to see how player retention goes for Massive in the Division 2 in the next couple weeks and months as people either, like get through the story and burn out or decide to keep playing. And I don't know.
Well,
I'm not sure how it's going to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think Division 1, what some people said to me on Twitter when I mentioned I didn't want to play this for 100 hours, but I wanted to be in for at least a period, is I said I enjoyed my 20, 30 hours with Division 1, and then I was done a lot more than my 150 hours with Destiny 1. And I think it's a type of game that you could, depending on how the end game goes, put that time into, but maybe you don't have to. Like maybe it doesn't have to be a game where you have to go back to it every year and play it for ages. You could just enjoy it for a shorter period and it would still be a success. Like I know these games as a service want to keep lasting as long as possible from the publisher's point of view, but as a player, you really should just play to the point where you've had enough. Like it doesn't have to drag you in for years to come.
I think so too. And it's all about kind of like value for money type thing, which is maybe a really good segue, Ben, into some news if we're going to get off the Division. This popular game that we've not paid any money for unless we were narcissistic and bought some skins, Apex Legends, is about to drop its first battle pass. And
Woo.
It transitions the game for one that is completely free, unless you want to buy skins, like I just said, to one that wants you to drop either $10 or $30 for either just a complete fresh battle pass or a partially completed battle pass. Now, if you haven't played Fortnite, do you kind of understand what the battle pass is, first of all, or no?
I got the gist of it. It seemed to be more or less. So it's another leveling system within your level. You get some skins. You get like an XP boost or something like that.
Yeah,
That seems to be the gist of it.
yeah, pretty much. So there's like 100 levels of things, 100 challenges that you need to complete, and each one completed gives you XP or new skins or da 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 da. And there's 100. I said there's 100 total. If you pay the $10, you just get the battle pass. If you pay the $30, you get the first 25 levels automatically completed, and then you get all the stuff that you would have earned, air quotes, because of it. So my nephew does this for Fortnite. He drops money every time they do a new season to get I said again. I'm gonna give up, to get a soccer outfit for his character, and he loves it. And I just don't quite understand the point of it. The other thing I don't understand is that, especially in Fortnite, there is this weird, it's just like busy work basically, where it wants you to go and dance in front of this rock, or I don't know, shoot these 3 signs in different areas. So it's, in that case, Epic actively trying to get players to not shoot one another in a battle royale, but to go and run around and dance in front of this, that, and the other. And if were randomly paired with one extra player, in our case, because you and I play Apex Legends together, and we were trying to win the game and someone's running around emoting to a building, I think I'd be kind of angry about it.
I don't really get it. I do see the challenge point of view. It's the same as us doing something for an achievement, as we did for the gold gun, basically. We Googled how to do it or what would be our best chance, and we pretty much fluked it, actually. But we played a few rounds where that's what we were going for, but that was one single achievement. Like, we weren't doing 100 different ones. So if there
Well,
was,
and if we jumped in and found a gun and it wasn't there, then we
we
went back
played.
to shoot things mode. We didn't decide to run halfway across the map to tick a box and do something else.
If there was do an emote in front of a rock somewhere, we would have done that, let's be honest. But
for an achievement, oh yeah, definitely.
not 100. The one I don't really like is the pay even more money to have part of it done for you. So, I mean, that's obviously just an easier way to make money. A lot of people will say, well, I'm a working parent, I'm a working student, or whatever I am. I'm willing to pay more money to skip some time. And that's fair enough. But yeah, I just don't like those pay to skip ahead. It's not pay to win or anything, because it's just some skins at the end of the day, really. But
yeah,
I don't like those type of things.
And I'm not entirely certain how Octane works. So Octane's this rumored character that we've heard about for 2 weeks, and he's actually going to be added in at the same time as the battle pass,
Which is,
and it's
now he's out now.
Not clear to me if he's just extra money to purchase or if you can earn him through the battle pass.
That wasn't clear to me either. I actually read the everything you need to know that PlayStation posted, and they didn't explain that. What they did say is if you buy this for $10, you can earn enough in-game gold for the next battle pass, so you won't have to use cash. So they didn't really explain what the future is beyond that, but potentially you could buy this one, do enough challenges to earn the next one, and if that process repeats, maybe it's only $10 for all of them and a lot of your time. But they didn't mention Octane at all. I mean, they mentioned him, but they didn't say how you got him. They just said he's available with this, so we're just going to have to wait and see.
So I am at the stage where I've played enough Apex Legends to really enjoy it, and I kind of look forward to a time where you and I can jump in, or if you and I and another friend can jump in and try to play. So I'm happy dropping money on it at this stage because of what I've gotten from it. I'm not certain I want to buy the battle pass, but I would probably just go and buy Octane now if that option is there. So that's where I think I sit in terms of throwing money at it.
I played, probably my favorite games of the year would be Apex and Resident Evil 2 and Division 2 so far. So I haven't spent any money on Apex so far. I haven't unlocked either of the characters either, but I'm pretty close to one just from playing. At this point, I'd probably just pay for the other one and Octane. So, that's relatively cheap. I don't think I want skins. I don't think I want more challenges. I know you get an XP boost there, but what do I really need XP for at a faster rate?
You only need to get to level 50. That's that achievement.
Well, so I mean, you could pay to skip ahead to get more XP. That's just an
I
option.
guess, but I think I'll play it enough to get to that without having to leverage an additional system.
Yeah. And I mean, the other side of this is these free-to-play games need a way to make money. If people are wanting to spend money here, it doesn't give them an advantage, really. And if that's what keeps the development cycle going so they can keep improving, keep adding new maps for free, then who cares? It's a way to fund that.
And it could mean like Titanfall 3, which I'm
Indirectly, yeah.
quite happy to very indirectly support.
Now, what about these people who want biting to become an option? When you're down, you can't really do anything. You just have to wait for your teammates to come over and revive you. And normally that's when everything goes wrong for us. We normally would pick the wrong time for someone to run over, and there's someone else in a bush or around a corner, and they just destroy our squad. Great tactic, though. Use the down player as bait, basically. So people said, where did it come from? I can't remember now.
It came from a dude off Reddit who's just saying, I'm so bad at this. I am continually being downed and I can't really help my team.
That's right.
I wish
let me
I
gnaw
could
at
start
some
fighting
ankles.
someone's. Yeah, let me munch some ankle, I believe was the direct quote. Or munch some leg.
I wouldn't mind.
I think it's a good idea.
You're slowly bleeding out anyway, basically. Retaliate, have something, tiny amount of health away. It would just be annoying enough as a player that you kind of think, I've just got to finish this guy off. Because at the moment, you normally just leave down players, really, because they can't do anything to you.
And it works in both favors. So if you're downed, you get to maybe try to help your teammates take an opponent down that's around you. The other thing is it kind of incentivizes an active player properly killing the launcher, because there are self-revive tokens in the game. So if you're using that kind of strategy where you've downed someone and you're waiting for his friends to show up and you're not really paying attention to the guy crawling around behind you, that person could revive and then shoot you in the back. So if you know that they're going to be crawling around trying to bite you, you would properly kill them rather than kind of leave them as bait.
Yeah,
to avoid. It works both ways.
Yeah, I think it would be something. I don't think they will add it, but they should look at giving you some level of something to do, some power. You can't do anything. You're so helpless when you...
It's not going to happen, but I love the idea of it. Yeah, you know what I don't really love the idea of, though?
What?
Playing COD Mobile, which was recently announced in the last couple days.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like Activision is trying to get into the mobile game / free-to-play space. Not that Apex is on mobile yet, but it will be eventually. And Fortnite became a giant success when it went to mobile, basically.
Correct.
Beyond that, I don't know much about it. I know you can register at your interest or something at the moment. I'm not really sure.
iOS and Android, you can register your interest, and it basically just sounds like a COD best of. So for the millionth, gazillionth time, you can play Nuketown.
Well, that'll be fun with your touchscreen controls
in a different iteration of the game. So it's basically just giving traditional COD modes on traditional COD maps on mobile. So if that's your thing, great, more power to you. But
we'll see how that goes. Much more exciting is Halo: The Master Chief Collection is finally coming to PC, the long-rumored Windows 10 version. And Halo Reach, one of your favorites, is being added for a small fee on Xbox or free or included on PC.
Yeah, and on Steam, which is cool. So it's smart, but it's also making people excited and angry at the same time. So there's the people who've been waiting for this on PC who are really excited and are just super keen to be able to get this game on either Steam or Windows 10 PC via the Windows Store. There's the other people who are already saying like, oh, well, I already have this on Xbox One, so it should be a Play Anywhere game, and I want it for free. And I don't think they realize how much work will have to go into getting these old kind of Bungie games working on PC. Like, it's not just going to be a straight port, and it's not like a Quantum Break or something where it's been developed with this like Play Anywhere structure in mind, so it just works across Xbox and PC. There's a lot of work going into this. It's not just 343. There's 2 extra dev teams.
Well, and
getting
Reach
this
has to
ready for
be
PC.
remastered now. So
And they want to avoid the problems that happen on Xbox and roll out one game on PC at a time to make sure it's stable and working, and then shift focus onto the next Halo game and the next Halo game. So it sounds like there's going to be a lot of work involved, but when it's done, it's going to be pretty neat, I'd say.
I'd say so. I think they've confused it a little bit by putting multiplayer on Xbox for free, but charging a fee. I get they need to make money. This game came out 5 years ago originally, and then they're doing something now, so they need to sell it as DLC. But it's a little confusing that it's not on PC, and people don't read anything, so it's going to
Yeah.
confuse some people. But generally, I think it's great. It feels like a complete package once Reach is in there. So I know a lot of people probably didn't even play it. Like that's almost a 10-year-old game. So there's going to be Halo fans who haven't played it, who maybe played the other games in the collection, and that's the one they're missing out on, which was kind of Bungie's end. So
It was their last proper game before they left and went and did Destiny, and the team kind of splintered at that point.
which you've implied is not a proper game. So just interesting.
And I think it's probably one of the. I think it is probably the. 3 was pretty good. It's one of the better.
Favorite. 3
It's
is
one of the better
game
Halo
I
games.
played through co-op with one person next to me and 2 others online, and we started at the beginning and we finished at like 3 a.m. or something. And that blew my mind in probably 2008 or so, in 2007, whenever this game came out. So nothing has been able to replace that experience because it was just new at the time. But Reach is a very good game. It's probably a cleaner, tighter game, but 3 will be the special one for me always.
Yeah, it's better than 4. It's definitely better than the train wreck that was 5.
Yes.
But if you have Halo 5 and you've been kind of following this Master Chief Collection announcement, there was a stupid joke on Reddit about buying the devs pizza if they would confirm that the game was coming to PC. And since they have, 343's offices were just like inundated with pizza. So as thanks for that, they've made a pepperoni pizza skin that you can apply to a Halo 5 gun of your choice.
Oh,
so enjoy that.
Another skin. But I'm glad
the downside is you have to play Halo 5.
Was when they announced this on Inside Xbox and they had this pizza gag, I thought, what is going on here? This is just like the worst type of wannabe content influencer. But there was a massive inside joke that I did not get. So yeah, good on them for playing it up.
They needed to maybe explain it just a teeny bit rather than having people figure it out and disseminate the information. But it looked pretty weird. It looked like you were watching some sort of like live stream from a college dorm during a party. It's like, let's have some pizza, let's go get some like chips and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and then the 2 hosts had more pizza, then they had some jelly beans or something, and like, what is going on here? But anyway, it was all part of a joke. I didn't get it at the time, so yes.
Well,
great.
There you go. Yeah. So we're recording this over GDC. Microsoft theoretically could be shocking the world and confirming rumors of Xbox Live on Switch to a greater extent. It already technically is, I guess, because you can get achievements through Minecraft on Switch, but they may even bring Xbox Game Pass to Switch. But for sure, we already know, because they've released some stuff ahead of the GDC talk, that they're bringing Xbox Live to a platform agnostic kind of mentality with something called Microsoft Game Stack, which bundles like the Azure cloud and Xbox Live and a whole bunch of other systems in a bundle that developers can like stick into their games. So it's kind of cool. I don't quite understand how it works, so maybe the talk's going to do a bit better with that. I don't know if anybody's going to pick it up, and I don't necessarily think it's going to mean that you can fire up your PS4 and get Xbox achievements anytime soon. But yeah, but it's a cool idea.
I mean, Microsoft have been dabbling ever since they did Play Anywhere, really, where they're kind of moving more platforms together, and it's more Xbox as a service, not a console. But they kind of haven't nailed Play Anywhere yet. We've just talked about Halo. Someone where I work actually was talking about Minecraft and how their kids play it on Xbox, and they want the PC version because, I don't know, it's more up to date or something. Kids know more about this than me. And I said, you can probably actually download it. It's probably Play Anywhere, like the thing Microsoft do. Once you own one copy, you own it on the other, but not with Minecraft. It's another game that's not like that. So they kind of half have done that, but there's a bunch of games which aren't Play Anywhere. So I kind of feel like Stack is maybe them trying to move more things together, in that it's actually more unified, and we're not just doing one thing here and one thing on another platform. We're kind of bringing Game Pass across the board, the Xbox Live servers, the cloud stuff all together. So if that's what they're actually going to do, and there's no games and things that are missing like there are at the moment, that would be much better, probably next generation.
Yeah, well, we'll find out soon, I guess. Something we won't be finding out a lot about soon. Great segue, Steve.
Yeah.
Is a game called Back for Blood, which was just announced by Turtle Rock Studios. They're the guys who have done Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead 2. They did Evolve, so you might be noticing the theme here. They do 4v, like
One
4v1 or 4v zombies games. This is
for the
basically
many.
Left 4 Dead at Warner Brothers, or published by Warner Brothers, because they don't own the rights to Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead? Yeah, that's right.
It feels very perfect dark because Rare didn't have the GoldenEye license or the Bond license anymore, so we'll just do our own version of this, but the current modern take on it.
With a lot of promises, but no real specifics of what it's going to look like. So I liked Left 4 Dead. It was a cool
I
new
liked it,
take
but
on a shooter.
when
But
it
then,
first came out here, we had the censorship issue. Or was that Left 4 Dead 2, where it only had green blood because it couldn't get an R rating because it
I
didn't
think that was
exist at the
2.
time?
I can't
Yeah, so
remember
that's
though. You're right.
always, I remember that just logo covered in green, which I can't remember if it was the real logo or if that was just a meme one, basically. But that's what sticks in my mind when I think Left 4 Dead.
Wasn't there something about like it was giving the finger, or there were severed fingers
Yeah,
and they couldn't do that, so they had to fix the
I can't
hand?
remember,
I
but
don't know.
it was one of the big debacles that really made us push forward to think this is ridiculous. We need an R18 rating, and now we have one. So Back for Blood won't have this problem.
There you go. And it's also not going to be out for a good long while. So let's move on.
Well, something that will happen much sooner is PAX Australia is coming up on the 11th to 13th of October this year, which is 2 weeks earlier.
Literally sooner, Ben. Literally.
Yes, correct.
Which I don't know if I don't. It's kind of a moot point, I guess. Like it's earlier, and we could try to figure out why, but it's such a gap filler of an event. It's not timed ahead of major releases like PAX and PAX E-Star, as an example. It's kind of just something in Australia for Australians to do, and it's not really promoting a lot of games because they've either, come out in September or they're coming out in November for Christmas. And it's definitely a player thing and not something for you and I necessarily.
Oh, yeah, definitely about the culture and the community, which we think is great. But I have heard publishers say in the past and PR people that it's just too late in the year. So maybe even though 2 weeks will help it, because as you said, there's a lot of November games which can now be there and like late October just before they come out. Because we've always had a big release around PAX. Like we had Mario Odyssey had just come out in 2015. I know Fallout 4 had come out like same weekend because we wanted to go home and play it in 2015 and not
Yeah.
be at PAX instead. So there's always a late October bunch of games. So maybe they're just getting out of that window. There's
The Call of
they can
Duties and the
never.
Assassin's Creeds come out usually during PAX,
Yes, and
from what I
so they're
remember.
normally early November.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might just get out that window where there's some value in publishers having their games there. And now that EB Expo's there, they want to sell you games. So they're happy to have stuff on show which is just about to come out or even has just come out. So I think we'll be able to see more games there because of this. There'll be more of that stuff that's just around the corner as opposed to just come out. And maybe it's
Yeah,
long
and
enough. Probably early October would have been better, but then you're clashing with too many other things. So
yeah. Well, I'm keen to go for the hype train. It's always a bit of fun. It's it's definitely not something for work, like in terms of what Stevivor does, because we play like Resident Evil 2. There was a playable build, and I was super excited, and it was the one that was at Gamescom, and the one was at E3 before that. So we've largely played all the stuff that we would be excited to get hands on for a preview purpose kind of thing. But that's just me
but it's
being an
not for us.
elitist, and it's exciting to have this kind of stuff coming to Australia if you don't generally have the opportunity to play stuff
Support.
early. So yeah,
And
and it's good that people
yeah.
like back it, as like in a time where Sony and EA have pulled out of E3, they'll still have a presence at PAX Oz. So it's for the players, as Sony would say.
That is true. And you know who will be at E3? Bethesda have confirmed that they will have a conference. We already knew that, but it's nice for them to say they will be there with so many people pulling out.
Hmm.
And from their teaser, which we saw today, time of recording, it kind of looked like a Starfield type of thing, which of course they announced last year, but they didn't really tell us anything. So
Which is exciting. Fallout in
that is
space.
exciting.
And they kind of
Something
need
new
to
from Bethesda.
and they need to up the ante because people were excited for Starfield and then Obsidian, who did Fallout New Vegas, and Obsidian, who probably get a lot of praise for the way that the Fallout franchise has kind of turned out in the last couple of years, especially compared to the train wreck that was Fallout 76. They're doing their own sci-fi type Fallout game called The Outer Worlds. So I think Bethesda really needs to double down on Starfield and get us excited for it instead of burned by Fallout 76 and looking to try someone else. So I hope they do a
They
lot with
absolutely do
Starfield.
need to do that, and they need to show some fantastic single player games because that is where they've done well over the years, and they've absolutely tanked Fallout basically. So,
Yeah.
and probably their online multiplayer style games. Like if they show another, here's a big MMO type of thing, no one's going to be interested in that. So they need to show here's probably some Elder Scrolls 6. I know they've said that's a long way away, but they could probably tease something for that. They'll have some new stuff. They just need to win back a little bit of trust, I'd say, because it had such a
Yeah.
good reputation a couple of years ago, and they've really, shot themselves in the foot the last probably year,
Well,
I'd
and
say.
just with like the whole thing with 76 and the stupid canvas bags and the way that the game actually plays and the way that they've handled bugs where people fall into dev rooms by accident and then they start banning people just because they, had horrible design in a multiplayer game that they've designed like it's Fallout 5 and then tacked on some networking into. It's they will have just put out Rage 2 before the conference starts. It literally will
Yep.
have been out for a couple weeks. There's Elder Scrolls 6, like you said. There's Starfield. There's that Wolfenstein game where you're playing
The
as
spin-off
BJ's
one, yeah.
kids. Yeah, there's they've got a bunch of stuff that we
They
know about
always
already,
do.
and I'm sure they'll surprise us with some other stuff as well. So I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah. Well, they'll probably get a
Sick
lot
of
more
hearing about the Elder
airtime.
Scrolls Online though, so just do not
Yeah,
talk about
don't
the
tell
Elder
us
Scrolls
about
Online.
that. I don't
Don't
care
get
about.
awkward dude who's very nervous on stage at all times. Just get Todd Howard to talk about it, if anything.
Well, I think they'll get a lot more exposure because without PlayStation is probably the biggest conference, at least the last few years, in terms of what people are talking about online. They're not doing anything. EA normally have a couple of big things, and then they have Star Wars, and they have the sport games. They normally get a bit of attention there. They're not doing anything either. So you've really only got Xbox, who are probably going to show new consoles. You've
Yeah.
got Ubisoft, who always put in a strong show, but they don't often have that game that blows you away. We not often leave and we say Ubisoft had a solid all-round conference, but they don't have that big star power because
Ben,
it's
but it's
just,
not an E3 until I see the Ubisoft press conference start with Just Dance insert year here.
and it will, and it will.
It's just not the same.
Well, it's going to be there. We won't get an Assassin's Creed this year, though, so they're going to have to fill that. We'll probably see if Skull and Bones still exists. We'll get Division update and one or two new games. So you can kind of already
Yeah.
tell what you're going to get from Ubisoft. But it's always good, but there's space for Bethesda to kind of muscle in a bit and steal some of that coverage and that hype that PlayStation's really just left there. Nintendo will do their direct, and they always strong as well. And that's about it. So there's less people competing for all that noise this year. In terms of the show, I mean, a lot of people think E3 is the announcements beforehand. And you always used to amaze me when people would say, I think Sony's won E3, I think Nintendo had an amazing first-party lineup or whatever, and they'd always declare that before the showroom had opened, before E3 had even begun. Because
Yeah.
to the person at home, E3 is the announcements. It's not actually the conference or the expo. So, yeah, it'll
Well, you're
be, there's
going
space.
for us this year.
That's
Are
true.
you
I've been
are you
approved. So
excited?
E3
Oh,
have
you've been
allowed me
approved.
back in. I've been
Congratulations.
approved.
Are you
Yeah, well,
excited? If
I'm
there's
excited
not an
actually.
Xbox console, are you going to feel kind of let down, or is that
Well, Xbox is going to
something
have to
that's going
be.
to make or break?
They're going to have to be big. I think this is going to be a downer year overall. I think next year will be the big year because it's going to be the year where the consoles launch. It'll be equal to 2013, if my memory almost forgotten. 2013 was the current consoles, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so this is E3 number 6 for me. They're really tallying up, but I haven't been to the last two. since they've been open to the public. So it's definitely changed. I went in 2016 and it felt much quieter that year compared to 2015, the year before. There was just a sense that it wasn't exciting. I think 2K had just pulled out EA. No, sorry, they were there. They were in this place where EA used to be. You used to walk into one of the halls and get smashed in the face by EA every single time. But that was the year they'd pulled out to do EA Play. So
Oh, yeah.
2K kind of took over and they didn't have that same kind of pull. And there was a big space at the back where the army had set up and it was just like recruit now in the US Army. And it was kind of real weird. So that was
Nice
the
and
last
awkward.
E3 I went to. I'm hoping it's kind of, now that it's a public, that was the last, I don't think that one was public. So it was the last one that wasn't. So now that it is, I hope it's kind of put some more life back into it because there are less publishers there. So
People, the first year it was public, were press, I should say, were super annoyed about the public being there because it was so jam packed with people and stuff, and it was the worst. And when I went last year, and EA had pulled out, and it was just a little less than it normally was. Like, it wasn't too bad, I think, in terms of there's less stuff on the floor, there's more people on the floor, but it kind of balances it out. So I didn't find it that bad in terms of trying to get around and get through things without running into someone's armpit or something. So I reckon
and
you'll
it
have
will
a good
be,
time.
if because normally you have the Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo booths all lined up in their own hall, basically. So if Nintendo and Xbox kind of take over that extra space that Sony had to account for more people in there,
But
it'll
they
be
won't, because
interesting to see what
Microsoft's
they
not
do.
there either.
Are they not
Microsoft's
there
in the
either?
Microsoft Theater. They're
Oh,
at
that's
the,
right.
what was it used to? It used to be the Nokia Theater,
I
just
think it
like
is now the
near
Microsoft
Staples
Theater. Yeah,
Center. Yeah,
yeah, next door.
which is kind
That's
of
where they
annoying
use it.
for you to get to. But in terms of space, there's tons of space in the convention center
Well,
now.
that's interesting. I forgot about that. So it'll be interesting how they lay it out then. And I'm presuming Xbox is doing that because they are showing off hardware more so than games. Because they're probably not going to have that much. They're going to have Halo Infinite, but they're probably not going to have that much to show off next gen wise. So they're probably going to have a lot of people wanting to go look at a prototype box if that's there. If it isn't, it's going to be, here are some specs or here's some information if they're not ready to actually show a prototype yet, which they may not be. Or that may not be till next year. So
Yeah.
how they use the space will be
Well,
interesting.
it'll be interesting. He says while he's yawning. Sorry.
Well,
it's been a long
but
week. It's only Tuesday.
Nintendo would be obvious. Nintendo would just be, here's a giant Pikachu because Pokemon's coming. That's all you people want, right? And pretty much, yes, it is. So that'll be an easy one.
Pretty
They're
much.
easy to predict. It's the others which would be interesting. I would love to
Yeah.
see something new and out this year from Ubisoft. They always have strong stuff, but a lot of it is, here's another Tom Clancy's something or other. Just something new that doesn't have Tom or Clancy before it would be very interesting.
I was going to say they were going to get around it by it's his son, Scott Clancy's Rainbow Six 7.
Well, I say that I actually would love a new Splinter Cell, so I will allow that.
Oh, yeah. We all thought that was going to happen last year. We got burned.
Yeah,
So
I think
hopefully
that'll
this
be
year.
there.
Well, so you'll forgive that, Tom Clancy. Or they could just call it Splinter Cell. I
No,
don't
they
quite
won't,
understand
though.
what they call it. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm
I don't
talking
understand
about nothing.
Why does the Division have Tom Clancy on it? It was started well after he'd passed, so
Did he write a short story or something? I should ask. We should look into that, Ben. Let's do that. Let's figure this
It's
out.
probably an obvious answer. We'll Google it first, just in case it's so obvious that we'll look like idiots. But if not, we'll ask.
Later. Let's not do it now, because we'll probably look like idiots.
No.
Exactly.
All
I
right,
think
so
we're
I'll be
pretty
at E3.
done.
You'll be at PAX. That's us for the year.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're done.
It's only March, but I'm done. Let's just put a pin in it.
That's our events
Done.
for the year.
All right, I'm pulling the pin on this too, Ben, or putting a pin in this, whatever I said. Like and subscribe or whatever. See, I'm out of it. Thank you for listening. Again, we're going to do this on a fortnightly basis or a bi-weekly basis if I'm enacting my Canadianness. If you want to give us some feedback, you can tell us at Stevivor, on Stevivor. I'm at SRightAU on the social medias. Ben?
I am at Ben_Salter on Twitter. That's it.
And you don't have to tell me that I say like too much. You could say something nice if you want, or both. You could give us a compliment sandwich and layer it all in a nice, easy to digest package.
I've never had a compliment on Twitter. I don't think it can happen, but it would be interesting. Be a change of pace.
See how you go. Make us feel nice before you like crush our hearts. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me, Ben.
Oh, my pleasure. Now I'm off to go back to the division. So I've had my hour
And I would
break.
play
I'm ready
with
to go.
you, but I
But you
won't because
can't.
we're under. I'll just play at the same time that you do. I'll wave